Hey, welcome to our podcast, Figuring It Out Together.
We're a group of young women here to give us and other young people a voice.
So let's get real and talk about issues like mental health, body image, relationships, and life experiences.
To talk and advocate on issues that not only affect us now, but in the future.
Throughout this COVID quarantine, how have you kept yourself busy? Because personally, I've been in bed doing nothing for so long, or I'll try to go on a walk every day, and that's all I would do, and then I'd see people and hide because I'm not put together. How did you handle keeping yourself busy?
I think the first time around, I didn't do anything as well. I was the exact same as you, Anna. I was such a homebody, and I mean, we all had to be homebodies, but I was particularly introverted and I couldn't be bothered doing anything. But I think the second time around, I was more comfortable with it, and I kind of made use of my time by either doing some art therapy, like coloring books, or listening to music, or just kind of jamming out, coming up with some new stuff, just kind of creating, because it just stimulates my mind and it keeps me sane.
Yeah. See, I handled COVID in it's going to pass type of thing. It's okay. By the year will be ending. And it kind of has, in Australia where we are, and it's going good. But in between, the first quarantine, it was such a new thing. Everyone was panicking. And the handling of the situation wasn't great. Everyone was going and buying everything together. What did you see about that? How everyone handled it?
I was shocked. I never thought the first thing Australians would go for is toilet paper. I never will, and I never have understood why our first response was to completely clear out all the stock of toilet paper in the country. I was just so confused.
Exactly. There's so many other ways.
Priority.
Toilet paper. God.
Yeah.
That's so unnecessary.
Yeah, I saw a meme online of this cartoonist drew a cartoon of Aussies, had a depiction of how Aussies plan to protect themselves from coronavirus, and they're just wrapped in toilet paper. I was
I saw that as well.
Stuff. It's so true.
It really is.
Yeah.
But then after some time that craze went away slowly. Still people are going out there buying. But now the toilet papers are a really good price.
Stop,
If
yeah.
you want some, it's a great price.
Yeah. I think everybody learnt from the first time round and realized that there's really no need to stock up because we'll have plenty and more.
Also, this was the first time I've ever done remote learning. It was really good personally because it was independent, and that's the way I like to study. Just give me what I need to do and I'll get it done on my own. And I personally love that, and I handle it very well. How did you take the remote learning?
Anna, honestly, great minds think alike. I'm exactly like you. I'm an independent learner, very much. So it was at the start of the week, my maths teacher would give me what needs to be done, and I would just sit there and knock it out. I'll just sit there for a good 3-4 hours, just either get majority of it or all of it done, because I just liked working in big chunks.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I found remote learning was very helpful for me personally, but I know that I have many friends that really struggle to keep themselves motivated, and I found that myself too. The last final weeks of remote learning, I was my motivation levels really went down,
and
I think I was just sick of it by then.
I left everything to the last day on the Friday. Everything would be my humanities. Humanities is I do not like the subject at all, and I would leave it would be due at 5 p.m. on a Friday, and I'll leave until 3 p.m. and try and finish it in that 2 hours.
Yeah, same with me with my maths. My maths was my worst because if you miss an exercise, you're screwed for the rest of the year. You're just gonna be constantly behind. So yeah.
Yeah, in methods.
Yeah. So that last few weeks before remote learning officially closed down, my motivation levels went really down. But apart from that, I think I was generally good with keeping up with myself and making sure that I'm getting stuff done. Yeah. Abia, what about you?
Honestly, same, like exactly what you said. I feel like it was flexible in some ways, but with maths, it was just not it. Like maths, I think you have to be in a classroom to like actually understand the topics.
Yeah. Yeah, because sometimes you just can't teach yourself. Like, you need somebody there who knows what they're talking about to be able to explain stuff to you. And I think
Not
we
gonna
all kind of
lie
struggle with
though,
that.
not gonna lie, my notes looked amazing. The amount of time I put into my notes.
My legal was looking like the inside of like, what's the girl's name? Princess Holly from Trolls? Her
Yeah.
scrapbooking? That's what my notebook looked like for message and legal
Oh
stuff.
my God.
I was like so on top of it.
I think it's because we had so much spare time. Even I like spent a lot of time on my notes.
Mm,
Yeah, exactly. Because I'm the type of person who at school doesn't do like any of like the work, like the actual work you do in class. Like I'll write down the notes,
yeah.
but I'll wait to go home to do that work.
Mm,
So now that I had remote learning, I did everything at home, so I didn't have any homework to do.
yeah. But
It
then
was
again, I
amazing.
feel like, so I don't know if this was the same experience with everybody else, but with my remote learning, it was like you had the schoolwork that you had to do during school time, and then you also had homework you had to do at home. So it's
Oh
kind of like
no.
because everything was at home, it seemed like, and it was double the amount of work because like you have to do stuff you meant to do in class time plus this. So it was a little hectic, like especially those first few weeks, getting used to that whole routine. That was like a struggle because it was like a huge, an overwhelming amount, pretty much, of homework. And it was like, oh, what do you do? So yeah, I'm just really glad that I was able to cope with it because I know that it couldn't have been easy for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Easy. Like, how did your mental health take it though? Because
Oh
like
yeah.
it, like the first lockdown, the official lockdown in Melbourne, it was like not the best for myself because like it forced me to think about my emotions,
Mm.
which was actually horrible for me personally because I'm a type to bottle things up and we keep them in a corner far, far away from people and myself. And this quarantine was, I had, let's say, like a night or many nights of me just crying for no reason. I had Lana Del Rey and I was just crying with her music.
Oh, same. I feel you.
And then
Yeah.
lockdown 2 came, and I was like, great. I was like, let's get this out of the way. I'm good. My
Yeah.
mental health is
Yeah.
somewhere, but it was great.
I used to have like a personal fear to be alone with my thoughts because I'm such a like a my thoughts run wild in my brain. Like I'm thinking about one thing and I jump to the other thing. Not because like I'm on like multiple things at once, but like I have an idea and I'm like, oh wait, no, but this should link with this and this should link with this, and I'm constantly going. And I used to have like a personal fear of like, oh my gosh, I cannot be left alone with my thoughts because I'm just gonna drive myself crazy.
Yeah.
And
Oh
like
my God.
that first lockdown, I was like, what am I doing? I'm kind of going insane. And it was especially with like homework piling and then like if I had extracurriculars, meetings for that, and like kind of figuring out how to like set my day and like separating my home life from like school life. That in itself was such a huge task. Plus my brain going on a whole train of thought on its own. It was just all over the place. There's that like first month of lockdown. But I think after that first thing, I really learned to like separate my my school time from my home time. So I would so say for like school, like at 9 o'clock, I would go sit in my living room or sit on the dining table because I was home alone because mum and dad had work, same with my sisters. So I was home alone. So I would go sit outside, do my work outside, and then during like recess or lunch, quotation marks, I would go into my room or I'd go outside. So I'm just kind of physically separating my areas so I know when I have to be switched on and off. And that really helped me because just physically seeing that separation helped like my brain like sort things out. So yeah.
That's so good. Abia, how did you handle it?
Okay, if I was to be honest, I was the complete opposite of Leanne. Like I was not organized at all. But it's nice to hear, that It's nice to hear how Leanne organized like her schedule and her lifestyle and her routine basically with her with online learning.
Yeah, so Bea, how did you deal with like managing all that? Because like clearly it couldn't have been easy. How did you find like managing your multiple tasks and
For me, I guess I did procrastinate a lot. I guess we all kind of did that in a way. Um, and honestly, I just stayed in my room the whole day, just did my homework and my schoolwork, and then because it was so hectic, like there were just all of these tasks piling up, so like I had no idea like which one was due when, so I did miss out on like a lot of stuff. Did the same thing happen with you? Like, was it just me?
Yeah, no, honestly, at times I felt like things were piling up, especially like because I did methods this year and it's a very fast-paced subject. So if you missed like an exercise or if you missed like even like a small video, it's like you're completely behind and you have to make sure that you're on top of everything. So it kind of felt like I was like barely keeping my head above the water at times. But I think that's when it helped to kind of just step away from it and really look around and be like, okay, prioritize this before that. That would help. Yeah. So like I found that making lists or something similar to that would help me like make sure that I'm doing what I need to be doing at this time. Speaking of routines and schedules, I'm assuming that everybody really struggled to stay on top of it because it was like almost like 6 months of sitting at home and doing the same thing. So, what motivated you guys to keep going? So, I know I found that music played a huge role in making sure that I stayed sane because I am a musician and I've always loved music. So, I found that just like having a couple of minutes before class starts to just listen to music or playing some music in the morning when I wake up would really um, lift my mood. Yeah. What about you, Abia?
Same here. Music did play like a large role with helping me stay motivated and positive, I guess, in a way.
Yeah, that sounds like good. What about you, Anna?
I like for work wise to get everything done, I would like on my laptop with the little sticky notes, I'd write everything that needs to be done and then I would just like to keep myself motivated because I want to be able to like tick those off or like cut them out from the post note. So it really like, pushed me to do things done because by the end of the week I would see all these like green ticks next to them and I would be so happy with
Yeah.
myself.
Just that satisfaction of seeing all the things completed is like enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and speaking of like the ticking and the list, I think a new skill I learnt during remote learning was also organization. Like, I mean, I was always like organized to an extent. Like, I wasn't crazy organized, but I knew how to like take care of things. But I think I really improved my organization skills during remote, and that was because like I learned how to like do lists properly and prioritize my things, and put some just kind of make those tough decisions of right, I can't do this because I need to focus on this. I can't do this because I have to focus on this. And I found that organization was like a new skill I learned during remote. Anna, what about you?
I didn't really like learning wise, I learned more about like myself and
Mm.
who I've like become, like how I see myself versus what like truly I am. So it was more like a mental thing where I was like, oh my gosh, who am I? Like I've turned into someone like I was who I was at the start of the year, and through this quarantine and stuff, I've lost myself because I've been doing the same thing day and day, like day in and day out. So then it hit me and I was like, oh, and I had to like relearn it. And I was like, I understand now. Like, when people say, oh, I'm going off on a trip to Europe for a year to find myself. And I'm
Yeah.
like, what does that even mean? Like,
Mm.
you're becoming like going to India to become like do yoga to find yourself. And I'm like, that makes no sense in my head. And then I
Yeah.
understood. I was like, you lose yourself to just conforming into everyone else's like into society.
Mm.
And I was like, whoa, it hit me. That's what something new I learned.
Yeah, that's so
Rabia?
true.
For me, I actually learned a lot about cooking. Like every few days in lockdown, my sister and me, we just find a new recipe and we try it out.
Very nice.
Nice. Oh yeah, I'm definitely a stress baker too. Like when I'm stressed or if I'm feeling a little overwhelmed, I'm like, let's just make like a whip of a quick banana bread or something.
Mhm.
When I
Yes. Oh my
think
gosh. It's such a stress reliever.
and that
What do you
I think
like?
that may have played a role in like me being like constantly hyper because like so much sugar. But yeah.
Anything special that you made, Abia?
Pasta we tried because there are like a bunch of different types of pasta recipes. So I wanted to like try and do all of them, I guess, or as many as I could.
Abia, what was like the hardest thing you probably made
Okay, the
over that
hardest
lockdown?
thing.
Yeah.
The hardest thing would be the South Asian dish called biryani.
Wow.
Oh, I love biryani. Oh my gosh. I
Yeah.
try to get my mom to make it as many times as she can.
See, but that's the thing. Only a certain amount of people can make it right. Like, I think you have to like have, you gotta be like some sort of guru to know how to make biryani good. Like, it takes
No,
skill.
yeah, it does, honestly. And like
Yeah.
I will always say, my mom's is the best. I will give her that title.
Sorry, I disagree with you. My mom's is the best. Like I don't care what you say, but
Wow.
Well,
I'm gonna have to settle this one day.
yeah,
Well,
for
someday
sure.
soon. Yeah, speaking of mums and families and everything, we've all been stuck with family and friends over the course of lockdown. And if we haven't, it is a shame. But I think we've all been able to like maintain our relationships, be either via online or face to face, to some extent during remote learning. How were your relationships different during remote learning, though? So I know for me, um, so I was stuck with, so I was in lockdown with my second sister and my mum and my dad. And because of that, my oldest sister and I had a really like, we struggled to maintain our relationship because I didn't see her as often. And I would call her every now and then, but I think we really, like, we had a bit of a missing in our hearts because we couldn't see each other as often. And it was really nice to finally now be able to see her. But yeah, I found that I really struggled to maintain a strong relationship with her during remote. How about you, Abia?
Well, being stuck at home, we obviously did have more. We did like spend more time with our family. So I guess in a way, I did become like more closer with my mom and my dad and my siblings, which is a good thing. Like it's a positive thing. But at the same time, we couldn't like see our friends from school that often.
Yeah. Did you find that you were texting any of your friends or just not at all?
Yes, just texts and video calls and stuff like that. But like we did miss seeing each other face to face.
Yeah. What about you,
Yeah,
Anna?
like with family, it was like different because like I have two older sisters and they don't live here anymore. So like it was like I was in like it was the first time like I was an actual like only child. It was weird.
Mm.
But like I'm always the one who's making noise in this house. If it wasn't for me, this house would be so quiet. Um, but like I would occupy myself with like making dinner. I made dinner at least like 4 times a week in the first quarantine. I was always making dinner. It was a whole thing.
Yeah.
And I would just start FaceTiming my sisters at random hours of the day just to like, I would have like chicken tenders and I'd be like, look at the chicken tenders I'm eating right now. I'd be like, pick up your FaceTime and talk to me about my chicken tenders that I'm eating right now. Like I would just call them randomly and be like, look. So that did like, calling them nonstop did grow like a much more relationship about like just FaceTiming and sitting there and talking.
Yeah.
So that did grow a bit. And friends, I started like talking, like using social media more to like talk to people because before I hardly like spoke to anyone on Snapchat or Instagram because I saw them at school every day. So I was like, I see you for like half my day.
Yeah.
I don't really see the need in staffing you for the next half of my day. So then, but now like I actually snap people a little bit more and use it and talk to people. So yeah, I did grow more like a relationship with a few people.
Yeah, socially, I actually found, especially with like friends, it was a lot easier to stay in touch with them because you kind of found reasons to talk to them. Like, hey, what did you do for this homework, or did you struggle with this assignment? And I found that a lot of the times I would text my friends, or my friends would text me, just to kind of help each other out, or even like talk to them about the homework. And you found like basically every excuse just to call them and be like, oh, sir, I'm just calling my friend for help about homework when you're in a Zoom class or something. But yeah, it was like a nice change. Rather than talking about meaningless things, we found that I personally found that I had more deep and meaningful conversations online with like a couple of close friends. Maybe that's because of lockdown, or because I don't know, we were just bored and like we were going crazy. But I did have like really meaningful like conversations with friends. Whether it's just like a hey, are you okay? Hey, how are you doing? Or just like hey, are you doing okay with this homework? Or are you struggling with this? Would you like some help? This, that, yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Because like I started texting people from my classes that I never spoke to. So like
Yeah,
I was like, hey, I need like how do you do this? And then I become friends with them
yeah.
over social media, and we would talk about work and like how school is.
Yeah, and it was so nice to like. So I don't know about you guys, but I personally got like a couple of friends who texted that I've like never talked to before. Actually, no, I have. That's a lie. I have, but like I don't talk to as often. And the ones that you kind of are friends with at school, but not really outside of school, those
Yeah.
type of friends. I got a couple of texts from them, and they're like, "Hey, hope you're doing okay during this time. Just want to let you know I'm here for you if you ever need to talk." And I found that so like endearing and so sweet that they would actually go out of their way to take the time to text me. And it was like so nice and so refreshing to know that there are people that actually think about me and care about me during this time. So yeah. Abby, what about you?
Um, well, I did actually get a lot of texts from other people as well, just like you, which is kind of surprising. It actually made my day. Like
Yeah.
just getting really sweet, unexpected texts from, people who you've never talked to, just knowing that they do care about you and your mental health and well-being.
And I think the part of the goodness in that is like you're not expecting it. Like it's unexpected, which just makes you appreciate it even more because you wouldn't think that you would get a text like that.
Yeah,
So it's really good.
exactly.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And speaking of friends and checking in on your own mental well-being, what have you learned about yourself and your own well-being during this time? So, what have you learned about your hobbies or what you lean towards?
Personally, I realize that I'm so like organized, and I take time because I just want everything. Either I don't take time at all and I just go really fast and don't read things properly and get stuff done really quickly and then end up making mistakes. Or I take my time, which like when I do cooking, I take my time, which ends up like being 2 hours of cooking. And everyone in their house is like, are you ready? Like, is the food there or not? And like my dad getting angry that there's no food on the table yet. And I'm like, I'm trying to make this as perfect as I can. But then, like, on the other hand, I'm also like, I just learned, like, I like going on walks now. I like just enjoying nature and being outside, talking to my friends on the phone for like an hour while on my walk. It's good. And like on those talks, like with my one main friend that I always call when I go on my walks, we would just debrief about our day. Like, I had this today. It was actually really good, nice. Like, going through everything what happened in the day and just talking it out. How about you, Abia?
Something which I learned was, well, I don't know about you guys, but what I actually learned was that I was pretty dehydrated. Like, you know how in school you just be sitting there on your desk and you have your drink bottle in front of you? So
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
you can just, yeah, like in school I like refill my drink bottle at least like twice, but then at home I actually don't drink as much as water, as much as, what do I say? As much as, wait, oh my god, English has left the chat. Wait. Okay, this is another thing. Speaking two languages, I just get them mixed up sometimes.
Honestly, I do the same thing. And when sometimes I can't think of a word, I just say, oh, I'm sorry, I'm bilingual. And they go, oh, okay, great. And I'm just like,
Yeah, that's just my excuse.
Or finding like a word to replace the word in the other language, like trying to find the English meaning of the language you're talking about, it doesn't make sense sometimes.
Exactly. It's not even that like I don't like it's not even that I'm trying to change it from one language to the other. It's just the word isn't coming to me. So I use the excuse like
Just mind blank. Yeah, actually, speaking of like learning about yourself, I actually learned a really bad habit that I have, and that is that I basically work myself to the point where I burn out. Like
same.
yeah, I figured out that I like get really tunnel vision when it comes to like academics, where I cannot do anything else, not even like hydrate or take a shower until I finish what I need to do. And I had to really learn to like actually prioritize self-care and like make sure that I am putting my own well-being first before like homework. And
Yeah.
I had to like physically learn to like actually set time apart to get everything done. So like it would, and not to get everything done, but as in like I had to set time apart to make sure that I was getting stuff done for myself as well as getting my homework done. Because I knew that if I don't do that, then I won't actually make my own well-being a priority.
Yeah, see, I wasn't as good as you. My whole quarantine in for school was I woke up like at 9 or something. I would be in bed on my Zoom calls because wasn't getting out just for that.
8:59, you're out of the bed, and 9, you're logging on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so then I would wake up around 11 when I actually got out of bed. Um, at 11, I would have cereal, and then until like 4 o'clock, I would be doing all my work, and then I would have lunch.
Same.
I wouldn't have lunch until 4, and then by 4, I'm just like, I've had lunch, I've gone on my walk, and it's dinner at like 7, and I'm like, I don't want
Yeah.
this anymore, and then I just don't eat, and like,
Mm.
I was stuck in that routine, and I never fixed it.
Yeah, and like I'm so like tunnel vision about it that even if I'm hungry, just doesn't like hunger doesn't comprehend to me. Like I treat if I'm like really into like what I'm doing and I'm really tunnel vision about it, I just completely only eat for like nutrition. Like I would
Yeah,
have like an
no,
almond and be like, oh, I'm full.
exactly. No, like the food, I can't go and eat food because it causes a distraction. Like I don't
Yes,
have time for that.
it's too
I
much
need all
time
my
wasted
energy on
upon
this.
nutrition. Yes,
It's
exactly.
really bad. And like with Avia's like water thing, I didn't drink water at school and I don't drink water at home.
Mm.
And I went and bought like a big liter bottle of water and my family was just like, you spent $12 on that and you don't even drink water.
I mean, you're setting yourself up for success by making sure that you have the opportunity to drink water. So it's fine.
I came home one day and it was a liter bottle. I drank 100 ml.
Wow.
I wasn't
Well
even the
done.
one who drank that 100 ml. That was my friend.
That's so great.
Do you still use it?
Yeah, I'm starting to like make myself drink it more because it's starting to get hot.
Nice. Yeah, I think when like summer comes around, you start to get actually thirsty, so you need water.
On a more cheerful note, so what would you say are some of the more positive things that happened during lockdown?
I went on so many walks, like amazing bush walks, because like the gorge is right in front of me, and we would just go down into it and like all the way around, and it was amazing. I found such nice like creeks and little like tiny waterfalls, and it was great. I found a lot of lovely
Mm.
trails.
Yeah, same with me. Not with the walks. I mean, I'm appreciative for the walks, but I found that I was like more appreciative of nature itself. Like I was walking one day, I was like, wow, look at these trees, they're so cool. And I was just like looking at the birds, I was like, wow, where did they come from? Why are they flying here? I was like, and Mum's just looking at me, she's like, you okay? I was like, yeah, I'm doing great. I'm just really appreciative today.
It's appreciation, you know?
Yeah, like I think I because of COVID and because we like got so many like necessities stripped away from us, I learned to like really appreciate every like the little things and make sure that I'm not taking stuff for granted.
Yeah, I think like COVID slowed things down because we were such in like a fast-paced
Yeah.
world where no one stopped to think and look around. And
Mm,
then COVID came and slowed everyone down, like everyone. So there was no
Everything
like
stopped, yeah.
anyone feeling left out of being in normal life. So
Mm.
everyone just took a stop and was like, all right, a 1 year hiatus of doing nothing.
Yeah.
I feel like
I think
everyone
this is-
needed this, honestly.
Yeah, it was like a gap year for like everybody.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
Would that be something which you liked about lockdown, like going on walks and just taking time out?
I think more than we liked it, I think it was something we all needed.
Yeah.
I think we were also like fast paced and so stressed about the little things and getting worried about small things. I think we forgot to like kind of calm down. Yeah.
And talk to people. Like I saw, because it was like lockdown, everyone was going on walks.
Mm.
So I was like, yes, there's more people. I should go on a walk.
Yeah, I actually met my neighbors for the first time and I found out their names after like almost 10 years of living in my house. I finally figured out their names and I know everybody now.
Good
So
job.
disappointed in myself for not knowing them earlier, but yeah.
Thanks for listening. Hope we inspired you. Can't wait for the next one.
This podcast is proudly supported by
Baseline for Young People and the City of Whittlesea.